What? Who would be afraid of lactose? It's Canadian.
That's exactly why they're afraid. The second he stops saying sorry, it's a wrap.
Being Canadian is the one redeeming quality that Lactoid truly has. Aside from being like weirdly nice, like on a large scale, it feels like he hates every single person in the world who's not him. But like individually, he's super nice.
Lactoid's great.
Lactoid, you remind me of my buddy who's
the best politics.
I used to have a buddy who was a huge redneck and like picture perfect Trump supporter kind of guy, but he would do anything to help anybody that he knew. He was the most interpersonal socialist person I've ever met, and the most diehard Trump supporter politically. It was wild. You kind of remind me of him.
All right,
it's kind of like my dad.
Go ahead and start it up. Transitioning. The people can see us now, but they still cannot hear us.
Oh,
and
can you guys hear me? Okay, am I audible? Everything sounds good.
Sound great.
Little more feminine today than on Monday, but still
good. My! Well, that's because I haven't gotten my motorcycle yet, Corey.
Oh, do I have something for you?
It sounds like a threat.
No.
I mean, it does, but from a Canadian, you have to wonder.
Yeah, Canadians can't threaten. It's not in their vocabulary. It's not in their capability.
They just go from fully nice to war crime in like 0 to 100.
I hate this. I've always considered myself an alienated Canadian patriot. I love Canada.
There you go. I found an appropriate suitor for you. Oh, whoopsies! Put in the wrong chat.
It's not for me.
Well, it is still for you if you're interested.
I had to pop this out. Mess that up.
You just need to make one slight change.
Yeah, I can't be a vegan, unfortunately. I try, but pork is way too delicious. I swear I try, though.
I don't know if you've ever tasted what it feels like to go to bed knowing that you didn't murder when you didn't have to. It's pretty good. It fills up the soul.
Have to?
Yeah.
Oh no, my mic isn't working.
I can't.
Do vegans even have motorcycles, or do they just ride Vespas? That's what I would assume.
Didn't you just say you were riding a Vespa over the weekend or something? Or was
okay, I don't own one. I don't.
Oh, you don't. Big.
And it wasn't a Vespa.
Distinction. It was a moped.
I can't.
Dude,
how about now? I can see you on my stream.
Wait, you need a Harley. Vespas are for liberals.
Can everybody hear me now?
Okay, I'm not going to buy a Harley, my very first bike. That'd be ridiculous. Also, I can hear everybody here just fine.
Camera.
And I can see you all just fine, too. I don't know why you guys are having issues.
I'm not having any issues.
I'm not having any issues. I'm chilling.
Everybody looks good here. That sounds good.
What's Kai? Kai is rebirth. That is what Kai is, but Lethe is forgetfulness.
Like your AirPress is about to be reborn in your kitchen.
It is. I don't use a kitchen. I'm just going to use my bathroom. It'll be cool. Not the best, and I definitely will not be getting an A rating for that.
Wait, what do you mean you don't have a kitchen? Your kitchen's too full for...
My kitchen is downstairs. I am upstairs. I'm not going downstairs to make coffee and come back upstairs. I do not do that. I am too lazy for this.
Oh, okay.
This is why I let Starbucks make my coffee.
I have just the thing for... Do you have a water tower up there so you can get it like water whenever you need it?
Yeah, I just got one yesterday.
Oh, okay. Does it have a hot water dispenser?
Yeah, it's one of those Zojirushi water heater things.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I have. I don't use it.
My simple cripple ass fell down the damn stairs going to get tea yesterday.
Oh,
and I'm like, never again.
So you can set the temperature on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
right
perfect.
now it's set at like 208.
Yeah. 202 is what we want for coffee, but yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But it's fine. That's close enough. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start the bunker buster since Sprout is still cheating on me. Welcome, one and all. Oh no, he says he has work, but every time I hear working late, I just hear cheating on me. So
I get it.
Right.
Welcome, one and all, to the Minds of the Ecclesia panel. I am your host, LethewaterKai, and with me are some amazing guests. I'm going to go ahead and let them get an introduction, starting with Corey. An amazing haircut, my dude.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. For once, I can say I did it myself. Although not that it's super. Pardon me?
Did you get a Flowbee? Those little vacuum cleaner haircut things?
Oh, no.
Mhm.
Isn't that like was on Wayne's World or something? No, that was the wait, no, I don't want to get to that. But no, I did not. Just a straight remnants of what I had left over when I was giving myself haircuts during the strict lockdown here in fascist Canada and fascist Trudeau. But yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Always grateful to be here. Looking forward to getting into it with these familiar and fine faces. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv, CoreyCampbell84, Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube. It's Corey Campbell.
Epic. And finally, for the first time in a very long time, on the closed panel, Rich and his amazing beard.
School's out for summer, so I can finally don't have classes at this time of the week. So yeah, I am here. We're not responding to topics yet, right? We're just saying hi.
No, just saying hi. It's a three-peat today, so that would be rough.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
All right, and with us, Elder Drazi, the man with the plan, who can literally speak to anyone and have an amazing conversation. Glad to have him here.
I really appreciate that introduction. Yeah, I'm Elder Drazi. You spell it like it sounds. I'm on everything, everywhere. That's it. I'm excited to hear who's gonna disagree with me tonight. It seems insane, too. So, Lactoid. I'm excited to talk to Lactoid tonight.
See, I was gonna say that. The man everybody wants to talk to.
Yep.
Lactoid, how are you?
I'm doing good. I hope I'm not the only person to take the position I'm going to take on at least the first topic. We'll see as to the others, but we'll see how it goes. I'm Lactoid TV. You can find me at Lactoid TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Thanks.
Awesome. And with us again, and I'm very glad to have him, Mr. Hammer.
Hey, it's me, Mr. Hammer. You can find me on twitch.tv/m_r_hammer. It's a little bit difficult to find. Yeah, I just mostly play games. I go on panels when I can, and I have my own panel, but that's a whole nother topic, and I'm excited to, get into it. I think I have pretty strong stances. I don't know if anyone's going to have any major disagreements, but,
Well, we'll see on this one. So the first topic is issuing alcohol to alcoholics a winning strategy in managing addictions and providing good housing outcomes? A San Francisco program is giving free alcohol to to homeless people under fire. Doesn't feel right. San Francisco, Adam Nathan, board chair of the Salvation Army of San Francisco, criticized the city's managed alcohol program last week for distributing drinks to people addicted with alcohol. The initiative claims to stabilize drinking patterns while providing housing, medical supervision, and social support to alleviate severe alcohol use, poverty, and homelessness. The whole thing is very odd to me, Nathan wrote on X Tuesday. Providing free drugs to drug addicts doesn't solve their problems. It just stretches them out. Where's the recovery in all this? The program is based out of a closed Tenderloin neighborhood hotel, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Nathan claimed it cost $2 million in public funds annually and was formed without any public input. I'm no doctor or expert on issues of drug policy, but I am a taxpayer, Nathan said. When did this managed alcohol program get approved? Where were the public hearings? Why is it hidden away in an old hotel? And who approved $2 million budget for it? I'm going to go ahead and start with Corey.
Well, since Gibbs couldn't make it, obviously tough titties to them. No, in all reality, this is a good thing. I think this is a page out of Playbook of Canada, which we have in some cities, safe injection sites. Okay, and of note is that alcohol is one of the few recovering from substance alcohol use disorder. It's one of the few things that you can die from if you don't get alcohol, similar to benzodiazepines. And so I view this as essentially potentially a life-saving measure for some people. And pretty much in the same vein as safe injection sites. And from what I can tell from the limited, not mountains of data, but safe injection sites appear to be largely a success overall in Canada. And so I think this is a good thing. And $2 million even doesn't seem like really that large of amount of money given whatever overall city budgets in that location, from what I can tell. And I'll leave it there for now.
All right, Rich.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would make that comparison because my understanding is that safe injection sites are about protecting society at large because of the potential spread of infectious disease. And if you have a point at which like disease, if you have an extra, more vector points, then you start to affect people who are not themselves just the drug users. So you're potentially saving large numbers of people every time you get somebody to like stop using, reusing needles, things like that. I'm not sure that there's a similar scaling benefit from the alcohol thing, since all you really need to do is put a glass to your lips. So that particular aspect of the benefit isn't there. And I'm not, and also it's easily supplemented, right? So if somebody gives you alcohol, certain amount of alcohol, I guess the idea is to keep the dosing low because alcoholics tend to not keep track of how much they're drinking. And so like with this, you can control the dosing. I think that's the idea. But of course, I'm not sure what stops anybody from just taking those free portions and then just going somewhere else and getting more alcohol after that. You're sort of, I don't know, maybe you could say that it's a bit of a subsidy, an alcohol subsidy. I'm not sure, but I would like to see. I mean, since they're doing it, we can get good data out of it. We'll know, in a couple of years, whether or not their assumptions in terms of outcomes are true or not. I'm open to it. I just don't see that it necessarily has the same benefit as safe injection sites. But I'm sure Corey and I can get into that in the open.
All right, Drazi.
I think that one of the things that he didn't cover is that well, sorry. The only thing that I can really add to what he said is to already like pre-counter the idea that they did it to themselves. If somebody was a smoker and they needed medication so that they could breathe, we wouldn't deny them that. We would mostly say that it would be a crime to deny them that medication they'd literally die without. There's nothing but sympathy for people that are type 2 diabetic that need insulin or in preventative medications. We see this as just imagine you can recall the outrage when they raised the prices on insulin shots. The fact that some people are obviously going to abuse this is not an argument against it. In the same way that we would generally say that the fact that food stamps are broadly not abused and they are used by people that can really use them. So I think that these are really the only kinds of challenges that we're going to see. $2 million for California is literally nothing. It is a drop. It's not even a drop in the bucket. It's insanely cheap. Your return on investment for not having to remove these corpses and then bury them and everything that goes to do with like just dead homeless people, you're going to see, or I'm assuming most of them would be homeless, but even still, it's not having to deal with the deaths that's going to be on the state. It pays for itself, clearly.
Awesome. Black Toy.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say, just make clear how funny this is. So we all meme on San Francisco and meme on California. And then I actually heard about this before. A friend of mine said, this is the greatest place on earth. The government's handing out free booze. And I said, there's no way. There's no way they're handing out free booze. But they are. And look, as a booze enthusiast, part of me loves it, right? Part of me would be, how sick would it be? Like, oh, payday is not till tomorrow. Where can we go? Let's go to the government. They got us. They got us, G. And they might, right? They might give you a bunch of free booze. I'm skeptical. I mean, in the face of overwhelming empirical evidence, I could be moved, but I'm highly skeptical about this. I don't trust San Francisco politics all that much, given the results generally. And it would seem that the comparisons to safe injection sites and smoking are immediately flawed, because it would be more similar to the government provides the heroin to the junkies at the safe injection site, or the government provides free cigarettes to the person trying to quit smoking, or along these lines, where I mean, ultimately, I don't believe that healthcare is the responsibility of the government. But even from even if we say that it is to some extent, the idea that we're feeding into addiction is, I think, problematic, especially if it's free, right? Like, if the concern is over drinking, surely these people have enough money to afford the over amount of alcohol they're drinking. So why does the smaller amount supposedly, why does that have to be free? Why not charge market price for that? The alcoholics would already be saving money then, because they're drinking less alcohol, as opposed to what they're probably currently doing, which is drinking the free alcohol the government gives them, and then going and buying alcohol as they normally would, to get fucked up. So I have a lot of issues with this. Generally speaking, I don't think the government should be handing out free booze. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, kind of weird.
All right, Hammer.
Okay, I think the one thing I wanted to say was also stated by Corey, and that's that it's pretty much necessary if you do want to help these people and want to bring them into another system, and they're, like it says, severely addicted to alcohol, and if you cut them off cold turkey, they will die. So there's really no alternative. And I think I read the more of the article, and it does say that people who are involved with this, they were saying that it was being misinterpreted as they're just giving away free alcohol. And what it really is that it's an initiative that a lot of places have tried to do, and they're taking people off the streets and they're trying to find them housing. They're putting them in a stable housing, trying to get them jobs, trying to get them cleaning up every part of their life. And if you want to make that work, and you have someone who's severely addicted to alcohol, you have to give them a little bit of, you have to give them a little something. It's not realistic to say, hey, we're going to bring you into this whole new world, this whole new set of responsibilities, this whole new lifestyle, and you have to give up the thing that you're completely reliant on. It's just not going to happen. So that's why I think the alcohol aspect of it is probably not really an issue.
Right. We got Tiberius in.
Tiberius
has made it. His country
Let's
internet
hope.
that runs on a water wheel has finally decided to start working, and I am glad to see it.
Dude, I wish it was that bad. I really do. Like, okay, so here's the deal. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, thank Christ. All right, so first and foremost is that my internet wasn't working when I got home. I don't know why. Number two is that the girlfriend cut the wires to my headset, right? When she was vacuuming.
Latina girl? Oh, okay.
No, it just got cut. No. Damn, dude. I can't believe you fucking went there. All right, any do. I'm actually rocking my copy of what Lactoid's got going on, actually. We've got this is the old headphones I used to wear. They're good, by the way. Definitely recommend Corsairs. But yeah, I'm just getting the sound through this, and then I'm actually speaking through the regular mic. So I should sound good, but I can't hear you guys where the fuck.
Oh, you're like 3 seconds behind your mouth. You're like a kung fu movie right now, and it's awesome.
Oh, that's horrifying and terrifying, and that's awful.
So what is your take on the state, or on the San Francisco city, giving alcohol to homeless people and working with them to get better outcomes?
Typical lib shit is, I guess, the first thing. I'm sorry. I usually I'd have something like really witty and fiery to fire off here, but I have had no time to prep. And what's even worse is that everything has kind of gone south in the last hour and a half. So I'm just kind of running damage control.
Well, this initiative aims to stabilize drinking patterns while providing housing, medical supervision, and social support to alleviate severe alcohol use and poverty and homelessness.
Right. So, okay, let's be real here. We've seen this playbook before. It's the drugs thing, right? It's we're gonna give people access to drugs so that we can hopefully wean them off and treat them and all that shit, right? I get the whole memo here, and under trained supervision, I think this is actually an actual way of therapy. The problem is, number one, are the Californians actually paying for therapy, or are they just basically giving out into a alcohol peddling scheme at this point? Let's be real. California is corrupt, and they will pay people just to make some corporations happy. Is that the case this time? No, I think this is the usually libcuck way of just trying to be nice to people when they know there's a problem, but they don't know how to fix it. So in general, I'll just give it this. Not completely off the mark as far as what needs to be done, but needs to be in a far more controlled environment. Like this is not something you need to do to people who are out and about that are homeless. These are people that need to be taken care of that are institutionalized. That's kind of the gatekeeping thing. As far as how you help the homeless, that's a whole other conversation. I'll wait for that in the open.
All right, and Debate Queen, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Hello, everyone.
So far, so good.
So I mean, like, I think that this is great what they're doing. I have no qualms about this like program. I think it's a long-term goal in the work of holistic settings. But I think this is great. This like it makes you pause, champ, for a minute and be like, hey, they're drinking water. But I think, yeah, like it's misunderstood, and I'll totally get into it in the open.
All right, and I have one more person that wanted to come in and say something, and they did not know I made a new Discord. Interesting enough.
Okay, who is this?
Tuna Chip.
Oh, I haven't seen him for a while.
Exactly why I would like to have him stop through for a minute.
Gotcha. While he's doing his intro, I'm going to step away real quick and get me some.
Only for 1 minute. Timer starting.
Exactly 1 minute.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But go ahead and start it off, and then as soon as he's able to jump in.
I just want to say, well, first, should have mentioned in my opening statement. That person who was pushing back, they're from the Salvation Army, and like whatever, screw the Salvation Army. No one should go to the Salvation Army, have any affiliation whatsoever with the Salvation Army. That institution can metaphorically burn. But all that to say, as well, Lactoid brought up that this would be more analogous to, let's say, a safe injection site providing the heroin or whatnot, and that is actually occurring, as in Vancouver specifically. Like there are places, there's government provided fentanyl, because as opposed to having people taking fentanyl that's not tested and them overdosing from that, they are actually providing fentanyl to people. I'm curious if you're actually opposed to that as well, if it's shown to actually save lives and you have less people ODing on that. Although I know fundamentally be opposed to that because that's a taxpayer-funded initiative, but regardless. But I also take your point, iCal, in terms of like, yeah, it's not perfectly analogous to safe injection sites because there's the issue of infection. But yeah, I assume, I don't know for sure, but I assume you're not, as you alluded to in your opening statement, you're not fundamentally opposed to it in trying it out as an initiative, as a pilot project, and if it actually turns out to be beneficial, you'd be okay with it. If it actually
if the data works out, my skepticism will fade a bit. But also, like, I another thing I'm skeptical of is I think it could work if there was strict enough supervision as it was happening. Like if you have somebody sort of checked in, where you can monitor them all the time, and you give them a certain amount of alcohol to drink every day, and you can monitor that they're not drinking any more than that, or they're not bringing anything from the outside, that would be a different story. But if they're just saying, here's your allotment of alcohol, like each day or whatever, but you're sort of on the honor system in terms of following it, I think the success rate on that might be more sort of questionable. It's a lot more difficult to get a hold of heroin, I think, than it is to get a hold of alcohol, especially if you're in a track where you're also getting a job and trying to get clean or whatever. They're going to have access to a little bit more resources. However, there is something that in combination with this would make me feel better about it. And that is, there is a sort of pill that you can take every day that if you drink alcohol, it would make you like physically ill. Yeah. And I don't know if there's something like that would maybe say that if you drink more than a certain amount of alcohol, because that's the thing, is they are still going to be drinking. So that medicine wouldn't necessarily work with it, right? But I wonder if there's something that would do that, or if there would be some way of knowing if somebody's blood alcohol level reaches beyond a certain level. If those sorts of things were in place, then I can sort of see it as a temporary measure as you're trying to detox somebody. Like it's the same thing with drugs, right? You've got if you're on opioids and you're trying to get off of it, right? You can get that. What's that other drug that they give them? They give
methadone.
To them that methadone, right? Which helps
methadone
you kind
clinics.
of like right, sort of ease off of it. Some equivalent to that.
It's not.
But I
the
just
same.
don't know
if you take methadone, you just end up being on methadone for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's
There
also
are-
a risk with alcohol, right?
Well, I'm just saying
There
it's
are
not the
drugs
same
that
kind of
people
thing.
take.
Yeah.
Well, welcome
There
to
are
the
drugs
house,
that people
Suna.
take.
Good to see you.
Methadone's not the one. But
Are you thinking of Suboxone?
I was thinking of methadone, but if there's something better, then
Suboxone's
all the
better.
better. Yeah.
in addiction recovery, a lot of people take Suboxone. There are 3 or 4 primary drugs, depending on if you're addicted to a narcotic or if you're addicted to a depressant like alcohol. Is one of the hardest ones to treat with something other than alcohol. In therapies like this, the withdrawals, very often what people are doing in addiction rehab right now is that you don't enter into rehab until you get to a certain point of repair, because it's just not standardized to give alcohol to somebody that's inside of a rehab to deal with their symptomology and the risks. Because like 3 days withdrawal creates terrible shakes, dangerous effects.
If I can jump in here, like, we're just specifically going to talk about this problem. This is the only thing I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm not going to talk about anything else because this is the focus of this topic, is about what's happening here in San Francisco. Okay. This program only serves the top people who have used their emergency service. That's it. Now, it started off as a small program where it only helped, I think, they only had less than 10 beds there. Okay. Now this is serving 55 people a year, and it's also saving San Francisco $4 million a year. $4 million a year in them not using that emergency service. Okay. And they're not like they're like helping people with mental health, right? They only give them a certain dose per time, per day, whatever, something similar like I was talking about. That's exactly what they're doing. They're not just like, hey, we're going to give you alcohol willy-nilly. No, it's a very specific thing. Now, they're there to only help their mental health, right? And that also means serving that little bit of alcohol that helps with their mental health. That means that they go to group. That means they go through all of this stuff, right? They're not just treating the symptom of like their issue, right? They're not just treating their alcoholism and then sending them back onto the streets. Like, okay, that means you're pretty much probably going to relapse again by doing this, right? You're like I said, they're like serving their mental health, getting them prepared to turn to the real world, not just making them more susceptible to go back into the cycle of drinking, being homeless, drinking and being homeless, drinking and being homeless. They're trying to break the cycle of that. And I think that's really important to like really focus on, because like not a lot of programs really focus on making sure that you're not going to be homeless anymore, that you're going to be focusing on your mental health. We're focusing on the issue. We're focusing, helping you holistically do all of this. So that way, yeah, eventually you will be weaned off this alcohol, like that is such an important thing to focus on. You're not just taking them and like throwing them back to the streets anymore. You're focusing on them being well and like achieving, like being a productive like member of society, which is more than most places like do. And yeah, fuck the Salvation Army blowing this shit up. There's a reason why they've kept this shit hidden, right? Because this is exactly the reaction that everybody's gonna like throw at. If everyone's gonna throw up like some fucking Roblox and blow up the fact that they're giving them alcohol, like it's not like some willy-nilly shit, like it never has been. Like, and if everyone's gonna like go into like, yeah, we're spending all of this money, save $4 million a year. What the fuck can you do with $4 million a year for San Francisco? There's a lot you can do with that $4 million that is being saved per year.
Well, let me highlight this real quick to say that if what you're saying is true and they're able to show on paper what they're able to accomplish, what harm would it do to take this to the city, let it be voted on, let it be spoken about? Would this
the city is the one who granted them the money. This is a city program.
Wait, people are stupid.
This is a city program.
People are very emotional
But,
when it comes
like-
to addiction. They don't care about people that are
Yep.
addicted. They don't care about addicts. They think that it's their own fault. They should suffer the consequences of their actions. They don't understand the medical side of it. There's people that disagree with basically all of medicine that says that it's a disease. All you're doing is putting these people in harm's way by letting people who vitriolically hate addicts decide to kill them when they have this, like, it's already available. By taking it away, you're killing them.
I think that if you did put this up to a vote, I mean, it is California, San Francisco. Maybe San Francisco is a little bit more conservative. I think it would probably pass because they're more liberal. But it's just like things like this are more. It's just not practical. I mean, like we've stated, it's $2 million. That's like a tiny amount of the budget. It's a small project that helps 55 people. Like bringing up every single like initiative or government spending issue to a vote like every single time. It's just not practical. That's not how any government works.
Lactoid?
All right, a couple things here. So there's a lot of numbers being conflated, and this is why I said at the beginning, like if the empirics turn out, and this is I think probably one of the only goods that's coming out of this, which is that we at least have some kind of more empirical data, or really any kind of empirical data, on whether or not this actually has a positive ROI, and also what a positive ROI would look like, and this would be more difficult, but I would hope there'd be an attempt to try to measure other tack-on effects or side effects that may come from this policy. But I mean, a couple of the numbers here, it doesn't cost $2 million, it costs $5 million per year. The $2 million is actually an undercount, according to people who've looked into it. The $4 million saved is not actually referencing, which by the way, I just want to point out, it's less than $5 million. But that's not even an accurate comparison either, because the $4 million.
Need it. That $4 million is less than $5 million.
Yeah, the $4 million saved is on a tangent where where one article indicates that there was other alcoholics. It doesn't specify alcoholics in this program, but there was other alcoholics, like the top 5 or whatever, cost the city $4 million in emergency services, just because of how many times, like combined, they called ambulances, which I'm guessing at that level of expense, we're probably talking about every fucking day. Somebody's hot micing. Just want to make that known. So there's that. The numbers are not so clear, and then there's also, it is a personal decision to some extent, right? So I would like to see some kind of cost recoupment on part of the people who are getting the taxpayer money. I think that would probably make sense, especially if the goal is to get them well, which I would want this goal to be if this is going to be the program. Surely there can be some kind of longer term system worked out where the costs can be recouped, whether it be through some kind of debt arrangement.
It's literally less than a 1/100% of their budget. Less than 100th of a percentage.
Tuna Chip, I think it might be you. I'm sorry.
It is.
You're fine. Yeah. I want people to get their interjection if they want before.
Yeah, I want to say that it's less than 100th of a percent.
Hot micing. Your mic's
Oh, you
on.
think I'm hype micing? There's
we
no
can hear your air conditioner.
The speaker.
No, we can hear your air conditioner.
Oh, if that's what it is, then sure. That makes sense. I didn't know. I've only just installed it literally right before this call.
You're good.
Just for this call, so they can hot mic.
Can you respond to that, Lactoid? It's less than 100th of a percent, or sorry, it's roughly 1/100th of a percent of San Francisco's budget. Are we that desperate to recuperate 1/100th of a percent of the budget?
I hate this argument, because then I could say, well, just give me $5 million, right? It's a tiny percentage of the budget. Why can't San Fran just send me a check?
Yeah, it's giving it to you is the same as using it to help people and save lives.
Oh, why don't they give me $5 million? I could. You know how many Africans I could save with $5 million? I'd go there, I'd dig wells. I would do all sorts of cool shit with that $5 million. Why not just give it to me? Hey, it's nothing, right? It's a tiny drop in the bucket. No, money is aggregate, right? How government budgets work and how people always try to get away with more and more government funding is every single little thing is, oh, that's just such a tiny percent. But enough drops of water, and you get a bucket of water, right? That's how this works.
I understand that, but this is incredibly incredibly small for a government program. Even if this was in a state that wasn't, or a city that wasn't as insanely spending wealthy as San Francisco, this is phenomenally small compared to their budget. So wait, I guess is your
I
argument
don't deny that.
cost is irrelevant? We should the total cost of a project is irrelevant no matter what. I don't understand.
No, that's not what I'm saying, right? If it costs $5 million and we got to, like, I don't know, build a Mars space station, probably a pretty fucking good deal, right? Okay, I might take a step back. Holy shit, it's a pretty good
sorry,
deal.
let me rephrase that. Are you saying that how much it costs is in terms of I'm going to care about the cost is irrelevant? Are you always going to care about the cost? Like if this same program was being done for like $40,000 to the same effect, are you still going to say we need to recuperate these costs?
Yeah, to some extent. I'm not going to care.
All right,
like
then.
on
well,
a,
that kind
on
of
a, hold on.
That's all I wanted to show.
Sure, yeah, I'm not going to care like on a personal level. Like it doesn't even make me angry because I don't live in San Fran. Fuck California. I'd never live there, right?
That doesn't apply to this too, then, right?
Right. Well, ultimately, I don't live in San Fran, so it could be costing $30 billion, and it's not my, it's the people there.
Do you care
as
much if it costs
$40,000?
$40,000? That's what I'm asking.
It's
If it costs 40
still
grand,
either way.
would you care just as much? Equally effective. It only costs 40 grand. Do you care as much?
Okay. Again, like if you're just saying, well,
It's
this
just
is
a
a
yes or no
fraction of the
question.
budget.
I just want to see
why
where
don't
you're at.
Obviously, the more money it costs, like the more I'm going to care about it. But if the money being spent is unjustified, then like I'm still going to care about it to whatever extent is necessary to talk about it, right? It was $40,000. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be like
yes or no.
It's not going to be. The answer is no. I'm not going to care about 40 equally as much as I'm going to care about 5 million. But I'm going to care about both, right? I'm going to care about both. It's not going to keep me awake at night. But if you're if you give me $40,000, if I get a check from Biden saying, "Good on you, Lactoid, we like you, 40 grand," some people here might be like, "What the fuck? Why'd you get 40 grand, Lactoid?" It's just a drop in the bucket. Look at the federal budget. It's a tiny percentage. It doesn't even show up on the number. You're right. It doesn't show up on the radar. But like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this?
All right.
Well, I think we need to think about what it is that $5 million is paying for, right? So I don't think
you.
you're buying $5 million of alcohol and handing it out. Like that would be something, right? This is the cost of the total rehab program that's being applied, right? Presumably for these 55 people. So if you were to take the alcohol out and just make it a sort of a traditional sort of rehab program, it would probably also cost millions of dollars, right? Because these things are expensive. So if we're really asking ourselves whether or not programs like this alcohol-specific program, because we're displacing other costs, and I think one of the reasons why Queen mentioned that as well is because all of the services that we save as a result of these people not, resulting in 911 calls or not being
That's
drunk tank
unclear.
overnight and all that kind of stuff. Well, no, it's not clear, but we have to factor all of that in the total analysis. So it's not just what you're displacing in terms of that, but it's also what you're displacing in terms of the alternative potential treatment programs that they might otherwise be in. Let's be honest, like this money is probably going mostly to the staff, right? The medical staff and the building that they're in and the rent and all that kind of stuff. Very little of that is going towards the actual alcohol itself, I don't think.
Well, I echo, and
exactly.
This is
So
what I said at the
Lactoid
beginning,
and,
right? Like if you can bring me, like if you can point to me like a positive ROI here, if we can talk about what the money's being spent on, and if this prevents like a certain amount of money from being used in the future consistently, and there's empirics behind it, and there's no other way of doing it, because that's the other thing here. If there's an alternative to this that would cost less money and have a better effect, I would prefer that. As opposed to
that's why I said at the beginning that what I'm looking forward to most out of all of this is the data that we'll get out of it, right? Because data will show what if we got an ROI from this, and if it turns out it's not effective, if it turns out it's not having the benefits that Queen mentioned, if it turns out it's not helping people in the ways that we thought it was, then the program should end, right? But that should come from the data.
It should come from the data, but the alternatives should also be tried. And this is where
alternatives have already been tried.
No, not the alternatives I'm suggesting, which is, and this is where I'm just going to probably lose. Apparently, everybody here is cool with this, so I'm going to be opposed to all of you to some extent on this, which is that to some extent, if you're somebody who chooses to use drugs or alcohol, right, and it gets to the point where you're doing it to the point where you're getting an AMBO every day, or you're costing the city $4 million or whatever, you should be given a choice, which is you go to some kind of some kind of rehab, I don't know, work camp program, or the AMBO stop picking you up. One of those two things. Because at this point, like, it's just you're such a drain on society at that point, a pretty inarguable drain on society, and everybody else is being forced to subsidize you. I just don't see it as moral. I don't see it as a good thing for the people there who have to pay.
It sounds like you don't believe in human life and the dignity of human life to me.
That's fucking ridiculous.
I don't believe in slavery.
That someone who is having addiction, that if you know this is a disease, has to make these choices. Like, I believe that these people deserve a dignified life. You know,
I'm gonna hop in if you don't.
Regardless of that, of course. Go ahead.
So, just to respond to what you're saying, it's not against the dignity of human life. It's of the dignity of human life inside of an interconnected system where that human life is affecting several other human lives. And then that's why we're talking about measures of degree, where the economic matters quite a bit, because obviously addiction is not the only problem. So that money could go to other problems which affect human lives, many of which might be the infrastructure costs for ambulances for non-addiction or even addiction issues. So now I'll say I agree with Aiko that this is, if it's a drop in the bucket and it's not a continual reuptake program, this is a great experiment for data, because as it currently stands, we have treatment plans for alcohol addiction that cost tremendous amounts. Who that falls on is its own question. It takes somewhere from $15K to $20K per person. Knowing that is based on like where they're coming to addiction counseling from now versus if we had some kind of public project where they aren't going to a hospital, dealing with wounds, dealing with shakes, how much of the extra costs are going to be removed by this alcohol program? That's to be seen. I don't really think that the alcohol that you're buying is any more insidious than, say, the drugs that you would be giving people in order to deal with this substance abuse, unless you're talking about like a purity of spirit. Oh, they don't have the willpower to stop drinking, then, well, if we have room and people are willing and interested to spend money to try and make it so that the bums, instead of dying and getting tossed in the river, get put back into the work market, I think that's a good idea.
All right.
We could harvest them for organs instead of throwing them in the river.
What organs? The most useless organs of all time.
Not the liver. I mean, other shit maybe though. Not the liver.
Sure. Wait. Okay. My thing is, okay. I have two questions for Lactoid. Two quick questions, and I'm not trying to get you, Lactoid. I'm not gonna have an outrage.
Come on.
No. So you said like you should give them the choice, which is like either we're not gonna pick you up in the ambulance, you're just gonna be left on the streets, or we're gonna put you in like a work camp, right? Say that we do the work camp thing, and we know for a fact that if we bring them to these work camps and they don't have any alcohol, they're always going to die. Like they're always going to have like a, what is it?
Relapse.
They're just not relapse. Withdrawal. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking.
The shakes, the seizures.
Yeah. And they will die. Like we know for a fact they're going to die. So would you still have the same policy, or would you alter your opinion then?
I think if they're working, we're definitely going to get an ROI despite the alcohol costs. So, I mean, if part of their compensation for working is like a gradient of alcohol, where like we give them just enough so they don't die, ever decreasing until they're done with alcohol, and then when they're done with alcohol, they can leave the work program. I think that'd be a good idea. Now
Didn't
we're
you
actually
say
getting
you were
something
against slavery and got like really upset when somebody said you're anti-life? This is insane.
He meant taxes.
This is right.
I know, but now he's talking about like literally putting people into work camps. Like,
okay,
he believes in.
They have a choice.
The automatic thought I saw too. I was like,
well, it just sounds.
I understand the nuance, but the irony is rich.
They have a choice. They have a choice. They can either stop draining society against their consent, or they can go into this program where their treatment's taken care of by them, as opposed to, again, further draining the resources of the majority without their consent.
Okay,
To be
and
clear,
my
this already
second
exists.
question.
I just want to, before we get too far away from what Lactoid's talking about, this does exist. Conditional release programs where you are going in, you already have to work a job. You have to work a full-time job when you're inside of these addiction recovery programs. You're doing a residential, you are taking certain drugs, and part of the ability to have the insurance pay for those drugs is contingent on you being in line with the program. So in many ways, we already have a more humane looking version of what Lactoid is suggesting here. He's just saying it with a way that makes it sound a little bit more edgy. But like, we do have people who, if they don't go to work, they fail the program, they go to prison because they're on a conditional release. We already have it. It looks a little bit nicer, and it exists in all these liberal cities as is. The question is, if we're against that, or if we're against the way that he's describing it, but it's about the substance of the thing and not, the aesthetics of the thing, we should be against these conditional release programs from prison. But I think everybody likes these. Everybody sees these as fundamentally more humane than letting them rot on the street and or in a jail cell.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of like so I have issues with like conditional release stuff, and especially like probation, dependent on you working. But that's a different topic. And my second question is that do you think, when you talk about like spending money and not getting any like financial return, do you see any value in like removing homeless people from the streets? So like I don't know if you've been to like some of these places. I went to Portland, Oregon, and it's a nice place, except for there are so many homeless people, and there are sections where there are homeless people and there are homeless children on the streets begging for money. It's really depressing. It's really not nice to look at, and it's also really dangerous. Do you think that there's value in if we just lose a ton of money, but we significantly reduce the population of homeless people to improve the health of the city? Do you think there's value just in that?
If you're asking me, I mean, yeah, there's obviously a value. I think homeless people are going to be a net negative on the streets. Yeah, going to be a net negative on the city.
I cede my time to Tiberius.
Uh-oh.
Got me full of mouth. Sorry about
Good
that.
timing.
All right. While he's eating, I just wanted to insert that when we're talking about issues of like this slavery conversation that's happening, I think that conversation is a little bit complicated by the fact that addiction itself sort of robs you of free will, right? So there are programs that can restore that will back to you, or anything but slavery, right? But it might seem like we're not giving the choices in the short term. But if the net result of that is that they get their freedom back, maybe in some cases freedom that they haven't enjoyed for years or decades, I think there's a lot of value in that, and I think we have to take that into account.
If I can add to that is just from being inside those programs and working with these programs, nobody gets through the program and says that they thought it was slavery. I've never had a person who has become unaddicted say, that was unjustified. I wish you guys didn't make me work at Taco Bell. I wish you guys didn't make me, didn't set a curfew for me, didn't make it so that I had to do chores around the house. The wound of addiction is primarily a wound of like a lack of self-love, a lack of belief that you can be a member, an integral member of productive society. So like the reason that this slavery, as we're talking about it, happens on conditional release is because you do need to like build competency. You need to build like a sense that when somebody asks you something, such as pissing in a cup, showing up to a place where you piss in a cup once a week,